Hi everyone, my name is Nathan Walter. Lots of people call me Wal. I've been in ordained Anglican ministry for 16 years, the last 4 of which have been as the senior minister of Naremburn Cammeray Anglican Church, which is on Sydney's lower North Shore. Let me tell you what I think is one of the really unique things about being the senior minister of an Anglican church. As senior minister, my privilege and my responsibility is not just to get on doing as much gospel ministry as I can do myself, but rather to lead and to direct and to oversee the gospel ministry of our whole church. In other words, my job is to try and help all of God's people in the work of proclaiming Christ with such a conviction and such a prayerfulness and such an urgency and such a commitment to the pursuit of holiness and love, that those who don't yet know Christ will come to know him and they'll begin to follow him as his disciples. And those who do already know Christ and are following him as his disciples will keep growing in maturity, in faith, love, and hope while we wait for Jesus to return. It is an awesome task. It's awesome both in the sense of really, really good and in the sense of really, really weighty. How did I get started on this pathway into gospel ministry? Well, God was really kind to me. When I became a Christian through the middle of high school, I was already at a church where the Bible was faithfully taught week by week. Then through my university years, there were 3 student ministers at that church who really helped to develop a culture where evangelism and training people through prayer and Bible reading just became the normal things that Christians do. One night, one of those student ministers organised for me to lead Bible study. And at the end of the night, he turned to me and he said, "You should really go into gospel ministry, into full-time ministry." And I said, okay. So for me, there was no agonising over that decision. It just seemed like the right thing to do. It just seemed like the right way for me to use my life serving the Lord Jesus. Now, over the years, I was able to have the opportunity to be trained up in lots of different ministries. So leading Bible study groups, going on lots of beach missions and leading on camps. I was a school teacher, so I had lots of holidays available for that kind of ministry. I was involved in kids ministry. I was involved in leading services and even some preaching. In the end, for personal reasons, family reasons, I didn't end up doing an MTS apprenticeship myself. But those 3 student ministers who had such a big impact on me and others, they had all done MTS. And the patterns that they modelled of training people in ministry have completely shaped the way that I think about my work now and the work as a senior minister now. And that's why I've been involved in training people through MTS in almost every year of my 16 years in ordained ministry. Because in the life of a church, training people in ministry is not something extra that we kind of add on at the end to our job descriptions. No, remember Ephesians 4. This is at the very core of what we do, training and equipping God's people for works of service, for works of ministry. That's why I reckon doing a church-based MTS apprenticeship is really the ideal way to get yourself ready for ministry like this. If this is something you're interested in doing, ordained Anglican ministry, maybe even as a senior minister, doing a church-based MTS apprenticeship is just an ideal way to help you prepare for that. The best way to be trained as a trainer is to be trained by a trainer. And so that you're here at MTS Recruit is brilliant. Hopefully this will give you lots of ideas. But hopefully that also gives you a sense of why doing an MTS apprenticeship is a really good first step or next step maybe for you if you're thinking about ministry in an Anglican church context.